Hey YouTubers, okay, I'm sorry about not making a video for a while, a very long while. I didn't make any while I was working at all, but now I'm back to being a stay-at-home mom. And I think about it all the time. I constantly think about what I want to do and what I want to say, and I actually did record 2 videos, and my 15-year-old son came home and asked me if I had recorded more videos, and I showed him my micro SD card and said, hey, there's 2 on here. And then he went and lost my micro SD card. I can't remember where we put it, so really trying hard to find those 2 because I really don't want to re-record those because I don't remember everything I said, so I'm trying to find those. Sorry this room's lighting's kind of a little blue and stuff, but I don't have my micro SD card to do it on my video cam, so I'm doing it on my computer, in my computer room. So I want to talk a little bit more about kind of my thoughts on the whole you might not be an INTJ, kind of that thought, but not exactly talk about INTJs. I actually kind of want to talk about ISFJs today. They've been on my mind a lot lately. I have 2 ISFJs in my life. I'm not going to name what those 2 ISFJs are because of certain reasons, because this video is going out on the internet and I don't know exactly where it's going to go. So I'm not going to name the 2 ISFJs, but I got 2 of them in my life. And it's kind of funny how both of them are in my life. However, you ISFJs and your loyalties. That's one thing that's very interesting about you ISFJs. Your loyalties. They are very extreme loyal people. Extreme. The only bad thing is at least in the 2 ISFJs I have seen in their loyalties, the decision where their loyalties lie have always been a little bit on the not exactly poor side, but more like they don't put a lot of logic into their thinking of their loyalties. Their loyalties are very emotional, not very logical. And my dryer's done. So I've been watching, and people take the Myers-Briggs test, and they don't always have a psychologist around, and so they don't know exactly what they're doing when they get there and what to do. And then I see them go on the internet and try and talk to each other and say, hey, I like this thing, and I like this thing, and who else likes this? And if you had to pick a color, what color would it be? And it's like, okay, I know that you all are ISFJs, but you're not going to all have the same favorite color. You're not all going to like pizza and popcorn and movie night. Okay, some of you guys are going to be a little rambunctious and outdoors people. Some will be indoors. It just all depends. So this is where I kind of want to also talk about this phrase that I keep hearing lately called dead to rights. If anybody's ever heard of dead to rights, I first heard of it when I listened to Philip Phillips' song, Raging Fire. And then I started watching Breaking Bad a couple weeks ago. I went through all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad. That was the last season. I'll tell you, that is the most intense show. I was on the edge of my seat literally through it, and this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, hurry up and fast forward. Hank, that I want to talk about that episode where Hank dies. I really, really needed time to mourn that one. But when Hank calls in and he says, I got Walt here, dead to rights, I thought, man, okay, this is the second time in Breaking Bad I have heard dead to rights. But I've also heard it in Philip Phillips' love song. So what does dead to rights have to do with a love song and a show called Breaking Bad? And I looked up what dead to rights means. What dead to rights means is that you're caught in whatever you're doing. So basically, you are dead to your rights because there's nothing you can do to explain what you just did, because you just got caught in the middle of what you just did, and there's nothing you can do. Nothing. You cannot explain this away. You cannot get your way out of this one. So, only a lawyer in court can try his best. So, dead to rights, I kind of want you to think about that as nature versus nurture. If you don't understand nature versus nurture totally, think of dead to rights if that's what you understand a little bit better. Dead to rights basically, have you ever seen somebody act away and you think, wow, and then you go meet their family and you get to know their family a little bit, and then you're like, oh, dead to rights. That's the psychological connection to dead to rights. Is you're like, oh, yeah, like, when I first met my husband, I loved who he was, but he was extremely childish. He had an extreme childish behavior about him that I didn't like, but I knew he was a really, really good man. And so I spent some time with his family, and I was like, oh, now I know why you're so childish. Oh, okay, I got it. And I broke him of that. I got him away from his family. I broke him of it. So it took a little bit. It wasn't actually too bad. He was willing to be broken. So that was also a good thing about him, was his willingness to change. How many INTJs out there have a willingness to change? He definitely does. He actually doesn't mind too much change. He doesn't fear it. Especially, I guess, if you put that logical meaning to it, which I can. So basically, your personality type is how you survive in this world and how you deal with this world. But not everything about who you are. It's your personality, how you react to things, how you take in things, but it's not your personal choices that you make with your free will. Like what color you're going to like, what TV shows you're going to like, what religion you're going to be. Those belong to the dead to rights category. Most people follow the religion and the political views that they are raised with. Very rarely do they stray, because it is embedded inside of you from a young time. Race. Race is not, it is a learned thing. It is a taught thing. You're not born racist. I think in the 6th or 7th grade when I first heard the word race. I had brought home assignment that I needed my dad's help with. You had to have a parent answer a question. My dad answered the question, and when I read it, it said something about race, and I thought, what does running a race, because in my mind the word race was running a race. What does running a race have to do with my history project? I kept thinking to myself. Because I had never heard the term race till I was in my teen years. I didn't know about racism till I was in my teen years, because it was not in my home. It was not taught in my home. We were not racist. We didn't talk about our race, mostly also because being refugees to this, my mom's family being refugees to this country, we didn't know anything about our race, really. So, we just didn't really talk about it. It wasn't something that was in our home. We brought people of all kinds of colors and cultures into our home. My mom's always liked the Hispanic culture and the Hispanic foods and stuff. And so we've always had other cultures into our home that I didn't know. No, I didn't know. So basically, when somebody's like that, naive to something or pretty hell-bent on something, when you find out where they come from, you're like, oh, okay, so you're an INTJ or an ESFJ or an ISFJ that acts like this. That's because this is where you come from. So you're going to act the same in a way, but different at the same time. And it's hard to kind of explain how you're going to be that way, but ESFJs are always going to want to be the center of the room and battle for attention and get out there, and despite what is going on in the room, and they're always going to battle their point of view, and it's not always going to be the same. Just because you're an ESFJ and just because you're both in the room, just because you both, doesn't mean you're going to battle for the same exact attention, because you're going to battle for the attention that you were raised with, that you were currently living. And that is the difference between personality types and being what you are or dead to rights, because you are raised a certain way, and you are going to always put your personality type, you're going to apply that to the way you were raised. So INTJs, you logical people, you lovely, lovely logical people, you are going to fight logic to how you were raised. My husband was very introverted, and he wasn't raised around computers and stuff, but somewhere along the lines he developed that, and that's, but he was raised around construction and stuff, and so he does fall back on those roots, which is nice. Everything you're raised with is always going to be embedded in you, and you're always going to apply your personality type to that. And so I think that's kind of where things get mixed up a little bit on some of my videos, and I try and bring out more videos to kind of explain more of my thoughts in the other video. So so yeah, that's basically my thoughts. I really like the saying "dead to rights" now. It's a very interesting saying, so I'm glad I just heard that song and listened and watched Breaking Bad and kind of got into that, because a lot of things can be psychologically explained. And on one of my videos on a micro SD card, I may have to re-record it. I loved it, but I did go into explaining some songs mixed with some psychological theories. So I try and look. I told my husband, I said, this is the difference between me and your family, and this is how it is. If you show us a show like Dexter, what does your family see? They see swearing, they see killing, they see religion first. They see, oh, this is against everything I believe and do. And they don't see the whole psychology aspect of it. What do I see first? When I see Dexter, I see a guy who is trained to be a sociopath, but he's not a sociopath. He's not. And he's trying to break that. And I love watching how he transitions out of breaking out of being a sociopath. And I think of religion kind of on the back shelf. I put it kind of on the back shelf of, yeah, I know there's swearing, and yeah, I know there's sex, and yeah, whatever, but I kind of put that on the back shelf. And I think of psychology first. Psychology is first in my mind. So when I'm looking at things, people look at me like, I wonder what she's thinking. And you can't know what I'm thinking, because you're not going to always be on the same level as me. Because I delve myself so far into psychology and the criminal justice system, and I love them both. You don't. And you love your religion the most of everything, then that's what you're going to see. And so we're going to see things different ways, even if we happen to both be the same personality type or pretty close. I think ISFJs are pretty close to ESFJs. And I think one of the things is because I was raised by an ISFJ. So, I think that's one of the reasons I became an ESFJ was that whole conditioning that way. Nature versus nurture was both inside of me. I was both born with it, and I was both trained it. My mom took psychology and stuff, and so it was just thoroughly embedded inside me in my youth that I read my mom's psychology books and stuff growing up, and so it was just thoroughly embedded inside of me, and it's what I thought about as a child, and it's what I thought about as a grown-up, and it's just always something that I've thought about and always been a part of me, and that's why it's come so easy to me. And that's why I love the whole Myers-Briggs things, and as soon as I have money, I will be traveling and getting Myers-Briggs certified. It takes money, and it takes time. It'll probably take a week, and I gotta go through classes and testing, and I am so excited to do it. And they don't do it here in Utah. I have to travel probably to San Diego or something to go do that. But I will do traveling. I'll probably take my family vacation and say, hey, you guys go to Disneyland and whatnot, and I'm gonna go take some courses. Because I am not an amusement park kind of person. And that's a whole different story into my life of why I don't do that. But anyways, hope this video has been a little bit helpful. Just trying to explain some things about the difference between having a personality type and having your nature versus nurture kind of person, and how you intermingle those things. And so if you have any more questions for me, let me know and I'll make another video on it. I am really going to do my best to make more videos. So thank you so much for watching, and I really don't know how many followers I have because you guys don't subscribe, so subscribe. But I've been seeing how many views I have on my videos. Thank you so much. I've gotten so many views on a couple of them that I'm just like so amazed. So I am amazed at how much they are being watched. So it's awesome. That's grand. It's great. So thank you so much. Bye.